What's up? This is the Takeout Podcast, and I'm your host, Larry Ogeda. With me is
Patrick Mungai.
awesome. Patrick is a close friend. Nashukuru kumake time kukam. You would have been elsewhere.
Definitely, I'll be elsewhere right now.
Sasa wewe sisi would come.
I know.
Audience wanacheka, tuko na audience hapa hivi, makofi kwao.
Audience yako si.
Umeguza pale,
Naam.
umeguza mlima. Yeah, interesting man. But nashukuru mwenyewe kumake time, and the topic is still on the sphere of family, and I think friendship is the base of family, and I'm looking at family as people who have a common thought pattern, worldview, and such a thing. And it's awesome that I'm talking to my friend about friendship, and there is something about ladies' friendships. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the previous podcast.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was actually a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Some parts I was like, that's okay, and then some parts I was like, okay, I need to hear more about that, and also I'd like to hear my thoughts on that, so that the audience can also tell what they think, because we all have different perspectives, but there is only one truth.
Yeah.
So unless we go and think what the truth is, we all will vary with our own truths. But we need to come to one absolute. I think it's called absolute truth.
Yeah, and interesting. And I think there are many things you could learn from ladies. I don't know about you.
Yes, so we are different. Despite what the world has been saying, we are all the same. There's nothing different about us. We are all different from the way we view friendship, the way we do life. Like it would be so difficult to tell my boyfriend, "Hey, babes," on text. That would be so crazy. But ladies do that all the time without any trouble.
In fact,
So,
it was the first thing we talked about on that podcast. We were saying how ladies will just call their friend babe. I can't even think.
Kwanza, have you decided whether you still be called babe?
Hey,
So
you
your
guys.
person, Ama, you're just like
That's a battle on itself. I don't agree with that babe name. I feel it's kind of babyish. Yeah, I know we're getting off tangent, but I feel it's kind of baby. It babies you. But imagine if you're called king, but you guy, you become the king. I know, but I'm getting off tangent. Yeah, so the purpose of this podcast has always and remains to challenge biases and assumptions, to have an environment of us being responsible, challenging biases again, and instinctively just knowing what really is friendship. Because friendship for me is a very heavy thing. What about you?
I think personally, what I would term friendship is an agreement. Like I will refer many instances to what friendship is because I believe in what the Bible says. And one of the verses in the Bible says, "How can two work together unless they agree?" And friendship is working together in agreement. Yeah.
Lovely. That's sobering. And for men, there's this thing people keep saying toxic masculinity. Oh, siwezi kana mwanaume. Because we have this beef in the office where we cannot sit on a straight way. Why is it like that?
Unless there are weird sitting positions. I can only sit with a guy in such a position like we are riding a bike when we are on a bike. But if I'm sitting on a bench and then he comes sit behind me the same exact way, bro, that is weird. Not in a bad way, but I think the world has shaped how we view friendship as men. Considering now there is this community called the LGBTQ community, which
Man.
according to me is very wrong. There's nothing
Yeah.
there's nothing right about it.
Mm,
And looking at where I've come from, There's some communities they will walk holding hands. They will
Muslims. Yo.
even the Kalenjins, they just walk holding hands and all that, and it's actually normal to them. So going to them and just you see you can't hold his hand, is like, what are you doing? So
What
I
are
think
you saying?
the first time somebody held my hand in church, just over here in Nairobi, for around 30 minutes, it was so weird. I just wanted to tell him, okay, bro, I don't want you holding my hand. We are being seen by everyone. But I understood where he's coming from and just was coming as much as I was uncomfortable. So friendship as men has been shaped so much by what we have borrowed from the West. Because if you were to follow friendship from our culture, we wouldn't have these biases of you can't touch me, you can't call me, even rather you can't tell me good night.
Yeah.
Because at some point, although I do that from
Ati
time,
nimekumiss. Hey, I don't want such things, man.
yeah. So friendship is different when it comes to ladies and men, depending on how you relate with the person. Because also that is something that it takes. Because I also have friends who are men, and I'll tell them, "Oh, imekuwa siku mingi," but I wouldn't use the word "nimekumiss." Nimekuhata buda, and then moving on swiftly to another topic. We don't want to dwell on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, interesting. Um, Friendship is a very broad thing that I don't think we can finish it in this short time, yeah. But I'll keep talking about it.
Mhm.
We really have to pour out this perspective to the next generation because what they're being fed with. Movies. I feel movies are a programming thing
Yeah.
because now, as you were saying, there's a part you've described it from a movie point of view, and I'd like to tell guys that movies are in the business of programming, so be careful what you let through your mind. Anyway, back to friendship. Do you think men we are vulnerable in our friendships?
Yes, we are, but we are very we share depending on what the circumstance is. Because one thing about vulnerability, I will share to a certain extent, and then as I'm sharing, I'm looking at your responses, or rather your facial expression, and then that will guide me on how I will share more. Because let me give an example with a friend of mine. Let me say you. I'll talk a certain topic that it's kind of sensitive to me, and then based on your comment, I'll just tell myself, okay, I will share next time, or rather, I will never share again, never in this topic, and you'll never go into here with it. So vulnerability to men is depending on the level of friendship and level in that you cannot share everything to everyone. There are things you just tell yourself, this one I'll just go with it to the grave. In as much as you will share with that person, but you won't share direct, like you'll just go and tell them, oh, by the way, bro, I'm hungry, I need some money on this. You just say, hey, but the China was so hungry, I need it, you need it. But you're talking about that time, and then their response will guide what you are next level of
Interesting.
vulnerability will be. Because if they're like, well, mwanaume die hard, but if they say, oh, you could have told me, and then you'll go stay maybe for around an hour and then just tell them, okay, I need your help on this. You remember that story that I was telling you about? Now this is how things are.
Mm, Interesting you know I remember of these jokes. Mwanaume akulangi lunch. Oh my god,
Mhm.
it cracks me up. Why is it that we're programming friendships to be so bad? As in mwanaume akulangi lunch, breakfast, mwanaume ni strong. I disagree with this. I call them toxic because now mwanaume hawezi kula kile mwanaume mwingine amekula. It's just like things. Anyway, I digress. Um, I'd like to know, ladies have chamas and they grow together,
Mhm.
and it always gets me thinking, this is interesting. Can we men do such things? Is it possible? Do you think it's possible?
It's actually possible, but what is the limiting factor about men? We have been raised, each man is on his own.
So,
You have to figure out life on your own. You have to fight till the end on your own. So from the moment you are born, I remember when I was growing up, as my dad was leaving home, he was just telling me, I'm leaving the family to you. I'm the youngest.
Mm.
And then he's like, I'm leaving the family to you. Hey, I'm supposed to be taken care of. But now, growing with that, we tend to know that you're not dependent on anyone. And we as men tend to be like lone rangers. Lone survivors, I can also use that term, in that we try come out to make sure that we do it like we let me find another word to explain, like we make ends meet without help from anyone. Why? Because at the end you will want to beat your chest and say I did it on my own, but at some point you need friendship, you need these circles called chama. So I think for men we don't have chamas where we go and make, let me use this example, make tea, talk and all that, because that is how I think ladies are made. They are made to go and talk and be vulnerable, talk about things, and then that's how they will open up to each other. But as for us, we are created in such a way that we will bond more when there is an activity.
Actually, that's right.
So when we say we are meeting for chama and just talk about nothing without an activity, that conversation will last for only 20 minutes. We are done. Okay, ulitoa pesa zako, your amount done. Is there anything else? No. But when you introduce the activity, like let's say we have a chama as men, and then the next project we're going to do, we are going to buy material, build a couch for David, or rather Alan. That one is something they will buy whatever you can, the materials, have the money for the chama, and then we have something to do together. Then from that we will get to pour out our hearts and all that. In as much as we won't share like exactly this is what's going on but we will have a brief explanation of whatever is going on. So we will be vulnerable, but it's dependent on the activity and the level of friendship.
Interesting. You know, I've remembered a joke I saw on social media of guys talking and they don't know each other's name. Also, it's interesting. Here where we are, I think I know everyone's name. And Jamas. I don't think ladies can interact without knowing each other's name. Am I wrong? Am I right?
We can. Yeah, we can.
But
We're just
there's
more
no
intentional with our friendships.
There's no but we can. Huh.
Yes, we do actually. Not we can, we do.
But after some time, will you feel I'm supposed to know your name? As in when you leave, because I think when we leave, do we really ask asa hata unaitwanga aje? Because me when I'm at work,
Bro, see you later.
tutaongea and you don't even have their
But
number.
I think you guys are more like you interact more with specific agendas. Like maybe you're watching football. Is there a
Yeah.
need to like know
to know
your
someone
friend's name
But
and it's
now,
just football?
you see, I've had friends as a guy more than a year or even 2 years. Ask me their name, I don't know.
And why would you like? Why would you call that your friend?
They know, they know about me. I know about them. We
That is
share
not a
some things
friend.
That's
about
not a
them.
friend.
We can base it at a level of acquaintance.
Exactly.
We have people like those ones. Yule kwa ofisi tuko poa jamaa, we move on. But now to my friend, I want to know about you.
Yes.
How do you not want to know about your friend?
Like you cannot
What
be
is
ignorant
friendship?
about everything like your surrounding, because basically you have to have the knowledge of like who is this person, what impact are they bringing into my life. But what I've experienced with men, like if you're going to watch soccer, you just meet like 10 men. It's just soccer. So every time you're interacting with those men, it's just soccer. You understand? But now most women, they demand accountability. That's why for a lady to like to realize that this specific lady is fake, it's because they wouldn't do to her what they're doing to them. But now for men, they just don't care. It's football and football.
I think that stems from the part where I mentioned that friendship from a man's perspective is that you have to do friendship on your own. So I don't need so much to know about you to call you my friend. I'll figure out life on my own.
Yeah.
But now, because there's no activity, there's no need for me to know you. There's no rather any agreement to a friendship, or rather I can call it a covenant in simple term. There's no need for me to know you because we'll just meet, say hi, how you doing, how's the week, and that's it. God.
Basically we can just say like men have
Acquaintance.
not like acquaintances. I'd say men have relations, female create friendships. Like men relate to certain levels, female create friendships because it's in our we are naturals in nature,
Yeah.
and men are logic in
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
So that is why for me to call a lady babe, it's so easy because that's like who I am. It's not a big deal. For men it has to make sense. It's logic. It has to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us it doesn't have to make sense.
But again, on that thing of friendship, um, it's like somebody was telling me, the way I was telling a guy friend that I am intentional with him. I want to know what's going on because I can just be quiet and my friend is going through depression. I wouldn't want that. The moment you cross over and I call you a friend, different. I mean business with you. I want things to go well for you. And then there are guys and be like, even if they reply to your status, imagine me I can blue tick them because I owe you nothing. You're not, there are those relationships that I don't even have to know your name. Or if I know, I can confuse. Is it Derek? Derek? What are you? But then when a friend to say me like someone I want to invite to my wedding, or I want you to be my best man. Imagine that now that is someone you have to know. Because how are you just inviting anybody? You won't say, tumeenda na wewe futa sana, so come to my wedding.
True.
There's something intentional
Yeah.
and personal. And you know this person, and you know that the values they portray will at least itasaidia marriage yako vizuri. So I think for men, you have those types of relationship zenye mko intentional. But I feel like people want to make you guys sound like you don't care. You can't just be don't care with everybody. We are the same way. Yes, we are different, but I feel like the society is trying to make it like we are so much nyi mko huko, si tuko. No, the relationships are just human beings are human beings. There are people I'll pay attention to. There are people I'll meet like 100 times and I'm like, you see, you're who again? And it's normal. So I feel like for guys, just accept whatever relationships you're having. It's normal. If you see somebody you relate with and you want it to be intentional, make that move to be intentional. Just like I see what you're doing, or you're doing a podcast. I want to be maybe to be like you, and do what you're doing, or live the way you're living. I see like you're sitting so comfortably in your masculinity, and I would want to be that, and I want you to be in my friendship circle, and then you make that. For us ladies now, it is that way. I see Zia, I'm like, I love the way you're living your life, and I want to associate with this. Then now I get to know Zia. Hata sahi bado sijamjua vizuri. It takes years for me to know na wenyewe na ukiniuliza vizuri naweza kwambia Zia hawezi fanya hivyo. So it is just that. It is just life that some people ni others. Ni kama vile game mnacheza au watu wanakuanga kwa hata ukimgonga na gari hakuna effect kwa game. Some people are like that to everybody, and then some people you have to be a little bit more intentional.
There's something you've said and it's cracked me up. I was almost busting here. You're saying how a guy would come to your wedding. Wale watu wanasema alikuja kubeba maji kwa kusema kile alikuwa anafaa kusema. And it got me thinking, what have I been in such a situation? Nijikute.
But is it possible for like men to connect, like there's brotherhood and there's bro code?
Yeah, we are not neglecting the fact that we have friends. Yes, we have friends. We have intentional friends. That there's a friend. I'm here because he's my friend. Otherwise, if he's just a guy I see and then bro, how is settling? How is podcast? You're good. How is church? How is family and all that? I will be seated here. Yes, we have friendship, but our friendship is that we don't need to talk every day. There's some days I won't see him for 2 days, for 3 days. I won't give him a call. I might ask, how Larry is or nini. I just know, hey, whatever, no news is good news. That is what we normally say.
But hata sisi wacha tuambie, you cannot talk with people
We don't
kila
talk.
siku.
Honestly, personally, I don't talk to like someone I can call a friend. I don't talk to them every day. I talk to them when it is necessary to. You know, that's like creating. That is like introducing someone to like you introduce someone to a vibe you cannot maintain. It's like I introduce Diana here to a vibe where I have to check on you every morning. I have to check you afternoon, in the
Kwani
evening.
una
I cannot
date?
maintain that. So for her, it's like I'm introducing her to something that I'm not aware of. So basically, I'm trying to make her move on eggshells. So intentionality for me comes with she is my friend. I know she's my friend. When I need her, I'm going to call her and she's going to be there. So for women, we know that friendship for us goes deep. And we know when we need our true friends, they'll always be there, regardless of everything. You see, like if for a man, if you say like, I don't have to know anything about you to be your friend, how what okay what who will you confide to, like when you're in a problem where you cannot involve
Yeah.
your wife or maybe your mother, in the movies. Yes, let us quote the movies, but now there's how they show us how, let me call this guy, we go way back, and then they kind of call it brotherhood. I kind of feel like it's that living in a oneliness where you take care of each other as if they are your own. But now when you say like friendship is just basic to men, because most men friendship is just basic, they don't know what friendship is, because I think they have grown to be told a man doesn't do this, you're not supposed to do this. You're like kind of one an island man, and no man is an island, yeah. So I kind of believe that it's good when you become intentional first. When you become intentional, now you'll move with intentionality. Because I know there are men who have like great friendships, like they even hug. It's not a crime to hug. Me, I feel like it's just a mindset, to be honest.
Strong Buddha.
And to be strong.
I'm a testament of, I think, good friendship, and I believe that you can be actually deep. You can actually have deep friendships when you are a man per se. I had my three close friends per se, and it has grown over time, which I see people saying. Ati, ESG, acha kuningia, acha kuniguza, and that, but again, it depends on also, I think, just their childhood and stuff, where they came from, because you cannot know something, you cannot be something you don't know per se. Maybe they've seen, you've said movies, you've said maybe parents and stuff, because some of our parents didn't have what we have now. You'd find your father didn't even tell you, I love you, son. So to you, love is a very tricky thing when it comes to the fatherhood or the brotherhood and stuff. So even when you have now another guy who has been told I love you by their father from the day they were born until they became 30 something years old, telling you, Manzi, I love you, man. So it will be strange because you don't relate with it.
Yes.
So we won't blame, I think, guys as in because of that, but I think the main thing we need to look at is where has it stemmed from. Maybe it has come from somewhere in the past, and we need to look at them with love and just try. And so for the men who are aware, this is, I think, where now we go wrong. For the men who are aware, we need to work with these other men who are not aware and work with them in a way that they're going to get this awareness na kuona ikitu si mbaya. Because as I say, my three friends, we are four. My three friends, kitambo we could talk and talk and talk, and now God bless them, they got married, so we can't talk every day. Audience, niko hapa. So they got married, but we used to talk every day. And the beautiful thing I think about our friendship is we have different dynamics. There's one who's more vulnerable. There's one who's like a devil's advocate. There's one who's like, we have roles in that kanini. So where now mtu akifanya makosa anajua atapigia nani kwanza ndio amueleze, ndio sasa unaniambiwe. Otherwise akipigia huko kwanza tamuza ulikuwa unafanya nini hapo 12 am. You see, so we have that accountability, and I usually say I cannot be accountable to you if you don't give me the permission. So for us, you need to give me the permission to be accountable. I need to give you the permission to also like check on me, because tuseme nimetoka Kisumu nikashuka na ndege niache 12 ni 2 am. I take a taxi to town that goes to my place, then nipitie Moi Avenue nikuone 2 am umesimama hapo chini ya Avenida. So I call you, but if I've not given you permission to call me at 2 am, you won't pick that call. So I call you, utaiangalia na ukate. But if I've given you permission, I can actually call you, you will pick, na nikuulize unafanya nini hapo 2 am. You see, like, I have given you permission to call me and check out on me uniulize unafanya nini 2 am. Like, that's an odd hour. What are you doing there in the first place and stuff? So with the accountability comes permission. Because then if I give you permission, I've allowed you to enter into my space. Then that means now we can be able to ask each other difficult questions, silly questions, funny questions, but at the very end, there's a goal that we are moving past it. Yeah. So I believe there are men who have deeper and there are men who have upper,
Shallow.
but wanasonga tu pole pole.
Me from growing up, from Chicago, men were kind of, my dad has never told me I'm proud of you or I love you. I know he does, but I see sema. You know, so I'm a lady and he hasn't said that. Imagine the way he interacts with my brothers. So, it's the same the way you said we can't blame people for what they go through. But I feel like in this topic of friendship and emotions and vulnerability, even for us ladies, I really had a hard time finding a place to place my emotions because the world is shouting that, all those things you're feeling is wrong. But on the inside, I was feeling if it was so wrong, God would not have created them. So, as a man, be comfortable with the things that are in you, the things that you went through. Hakuna kitu mbaya na wewe, you are not a certain way and you cannot change. Me, I didn't know love from my family. Nakuja kujifunzwa, by the way kupendwa ni hivi, urafiki ni hivi. So I feel like men should be at that point where unakubali, if you find yourself being weird with some things, kubali, by the way I'm weird with this topic of being vulnerable to a man. Otherwise, you will have a family and marriage can get stuck. So who will you tell? Utauliza aje syllabus inaendaje? If you don't form those relationships now, and that is why unapata kuna point inafika, you get very lonely and very bitter and very things are just there because you're thinking the world has told you your wife cannot understand you because the other gender, the other men wako uko peke yako, and then at old age you become very lonely and you die very lonely. So me, I think it is for us to encourage you guys, just be safe with your feelings. It is not wrong to be angry. It is not wrong to feel disappointed. It is not wrong to feel insecure about your body, even for ladies. It is not wrong to have those feelings, but you should teach yourself to carry whatever you are in a graceful manner. It is not wrong to be vulnerable. Some people utawaambia kitu, including maybe your wife or the people you date, they act in a certain way, and out of vitu zenye umezoea, you make conclusions. Our maybe they act weirdly wako like, mwanaume aliangi. And then you go to your heart and say, never again will I cry, because you are not crying for somebody to be helped. It is for you. It is you holding your space for yourself. So whatever the things of the world, whatever the way you are made, with the feelings, the anger, the everything, that is, and for me, I feel like it is God's way of creating for us a way to interact with our physical world. It is normal. It is normal when you lose someone to feel like, hey, me, I just know, and it is normal to want to share. It is normal to also want to keep quiet. It is normal to want space. It is normal to struggle. It is normal to not know what to do. It is normal to sometimes ask for help or not. Life is like that. And for us ladies, I think from having a community of people, when you interact with other people, they will tell you, maybe it is normal. It is normal for your skin to look how it is normal to have a bad day. So as we have taught ourselves. For me, if I see somebody like her, I will tell her, baby girl, it is normal. It is normal to feel your body is not the way you want it to be. But now for men, having those conversations, you hata interact na watu that deeply. How will somebody start telling you, young man, ni sawa?
Kababa.
Kababa, it's okay, Kababa, it's okay, And if you're told that you feel, unaona umecheka.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yes, so have people who can tell you kababa ni sawa. We will just sit with you in your confusion until you cross over. Kama vile Alan akona people, it is good. And such friendship, you will see when they have kids, their kids will have connection of each other. It is such a beautiful thing that people don't notice. Imagine have friends, have big friends. Your family will have family friends. Will have family friends. From the relationships you form as a father, you are creating connections for your children. You are creating your chances, networking. They will have a community in a world that kila mtu ako kivyake, but ukibaki hivi peke yako, wewe mwenyewe utasafa huko mwisho. And then your family also suffers. People can, as a dad, your child will come to you and you can tell them, call Alan, ako kwa real estate. Maybe your child wants to go to that.
True.
You have friends that you can say, I have a doctor friend. When I was coming to campus, my dad did that. Like, my child wants to be this engineer. Can you talk to her about you find people that even in your old age, when you make a phone call, it is something that will direct your children a certain way, So please make those friendships. Please, mkue sawa na kukuwa wanaume. Want to see perfect. We don't want to see perfection. Tuko sawa na vile mko.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think
finish up.
Men have so much to learn from
Yes.
ladies in terms of friendship, because now, as Diana has shared with this, when it comes to friendship, you're not just making a friend for yourself. You're making a friend that will last generations.
True.
And that is your network.
Yeah.
I've seen families that have been friends for years and they get to do business together. Look at the Indian community. They have friends and families and they only trade amongst themselves. It's not that they just got to know each other yesterday. It's just from a point of intentionality and just knowing this is my friend. So you commit to growing together as a community, as friendship. So we have so much to learn from you guys. But no, it's not that we negate that part. We need to have friends, but we also have friends. I think each amongst a guy, there is a friend, 2 or 3. You don't call them your friend all the time, but in case anything is wrong, they outside my family. I can call this one person, but we'd rather call them friends. We just call them, oh, there's a guy who is close to me. So it's just defined in a different way.
True.
Yeah.
It is true because to no specific gender, the pain of changing is better than the pain of remaining the same. You see. So I'd also love to say, like, stop doing that. No, stop doing that. Yeah,
Let's continue.
So okay, basically
shooting, by
what
the
I'm
way.
trying to say is, you see, the pain of changing, it's better than the pain of remaining the same. Because if you choose to remain the same at 20, you'll be the same person at 40. Like they say, old people are wise. Even fools grow old, right? And then, true. Because if you choose not to change, you'll grow as the same person. Yeah, as an old fool. Also, in a very, like, our world has been so normalized, like unhappy has been so normalized that if you tell people, people see you happy, they take it as a privilege or something, like you're faking it. It's because not like you're faking it, because they've not experienced what happiness is. They've only experienced the unhappy. You see. Also, okay, most men tend to quote unquote, my childhood, my first love, my mother, but now the trauma that happened to you, it's not your responsibility. It was beyond you. It was out of your control. You see, the external is beyond our control, but now the internal is in our control. Like that, whatever happened, the trauma, the nini, it is not in your control. It's not your responsibility. But now the responsibility comes when you choose how you let it affect the you now. That's your responsibility. That's your choice, because every day we make a choice. So to no specific gender, you cannot like let pain define who you are. You can change that pain into power and become a better version of yourself. Not for you. Actually, you're not doing things for you. It's not always all about you. It's who are you? Like, who is your legacy? What kind of legacy are you leaving for yourself? Because that legacy is going to be it's going to be transferred to the next generation that you're creating. Like, if I choose to remain a bitter mother, my daughter will be bitter, because what I have learned is what my mother didn't heal, I inherited. So if I don't heal it, my daughter will inherit it. So what your dad didn't heal, you inherited it. So if you don't heal, your son will inherit it. So do you want your son to inherit what you wish your dad was? You see, like, say, I wish my dad was. So why don't you just say, like, my dad wasn't this, take accountability, accept, and now change. Change yourselves for them, not for you, not for your parent, because your parent will never see what you're trying to do for yourself, because they gave you the best they could. So we keep like looking back to them, like expecting them to pour from an empty cup, which is impossible. So the only thing we can be, friendship or not, like you can be an individual, a personal individual, like you as an individual, you just change for you. Do it for you.
Um, I have something that come to mind, and it's not that we don't have tight friendships. Kwanzaa, in the space of employment, on the space of working, as we said, we are more interactive in the point of activity. So, like in jobs, the mentor mentee kind of friendship is so solid. I have a mentor. It's called JB. He will listen, and I can tell you for a fact, my life, what I'm doing, even the podcast, he pushed me so much more that sometimes I don't even think he remembers. I tell him, yo, I finally did that podcast, and he'll be so proud of me. Like I'd say, from there, as I said again, levels. Because the mentor who mentors me has opened doors that I don't even think he thought he would open on his own evolution, just because you're in a community that grows your mind. So, like, I'd say for me personally, that mentor, he has really come in ways that if I did it in my own evolution, or I just use the friends that I have around me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that mentor, it's not that we don't have rich friendships. Specifically for me, I really prayed to God to give me a mentor who can, and he answered that prayer. And so, what I'm really pushing us, even beyond the perception of a man should be, it's just we're supposed to be responsible with the opportunities we have. If you have something that you can give to someone, be very intentional in saying, hey man, this person can talk, this person can speak. What can I do about this thing? That can I mentor them? Because I think the gap I'm seeing between, I was listening to a preaching, and what's his name? I forget his name, but he was talking about the percentages of communities, how they own wealth. And I think the 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 religions that are close to each other, who live in spaces, seems to be the ones who are topping that thing, because 40% is owned by
The
Indians,
Indians, the Islam,
30% by Islam.
then the external,
Yeah.
like the NGOs and all that.
Yeah.
Then
Then us, then others. You know,
we're in the category of others as Christians, and then that's something that we should really think about. And I think the reason why we should focus so much on it, because it stems from friendship. Because in as much as we are joined by religion, we can be in the same religion, we fellowship together, but the point of intentionality where we say that let's build together as men, that's where this topic of friendship needs to be focused so much on.
and actually the topic in that gender thing, by the I might just raise things that I'm not supposed to be raised, but
Be free, be
I'll
free.
be free.
Yeah.
You know,
There's free speech in Kenya.
oh my god. You know, hey, listen to the Mari, please. You know the feminist idea,
Uh-huh.
the gay idea seems to be targeting the men because I think ladies can get off the hook of same marriages, or they can get off. But as a man, once you get into that route, it's impossible to get off it. I don't know if you're seeing where I'm coming from. I feel I could be wrong, but I feel there's a target. The target is always the guy. What
Yeah,
do you
that's
think?
true. I think in any society, starting, let's see, from the time the Roman society fell down, going down different ages, the moment you lift up the female gender over the male gender, that's the decline of a society. Not that lifting up the female gender is bad, but the morals and rules and all that come from or stem from a man. And now, when a man feels like his voice is not heard, he's the one to give direction. As the Bible says that he's the head of the house. If the head does not have power, then there's no way a house can stand. So all these agendas are attributed to one thing. When you attack the man, the society collapse, and then you can introduce now anything that you want. Because as the word says, that a man ought to be the head. What reason being from the Bible? It says that Eve was tempted first. That's the reason why a man should be a leader. Paraphrasing that whole uh, verse, because we as men, we you can look at a man when let's you can take a young man at 10, take him to a different place, and he'll still remember or he came from this place and want to go back. Take the same lady, a lady at the same age, 3 years down the line, they're comfortable with where they are. They have everything they need. They don't remember home anymore. Not because they are different in terms of upbringing, but I think a man has that internal, can call it
Remaining in the same
DNA or rather GPS that takes them back to where they were, the culture, the norms, and how they were brought up, just knowing how the rules should be. So when you destroy that, it actually now destroys society. Now you can introduce anything because you have a group of men without a culture. So when you give them anything, that will be now the culture that you take up. And that's what this whole LGBTQ thing is starting or is stemming from. Because looking back from the 90s, they started introducing smoking, from smoking to sexuality and all that. They introduced that agenda in the USA in that any woman without a man was paid by the government. That contributed to divorce. Divorce has contributed towards fatherless children. Those fatherless children, they don't have any morals, or rather, they don't have a person to mentor them. So when you introduce any agenda, gayism, lesbianism, and all that, they open to it. That's where the whole agenda of the BLM and all that started also. I don't disagree that Black Life Matters, but the whole agenda from the root of it is actually a bit biased. So as a man, we should actually focus not only building friendship from a point of just getting to know each other, but it's about having a culture. This is how we operate, and you're not building for yourself because in the world that we live in, you're not building friendship for yourself now. We, as Christians, as you have broken it down in terms of your this podcast is based on spheres of influence, and media is one of the very strongest spheres of influence. And us as Christians, as we take or venture into this sphere of influence, women should be at the forefront because everybody has an agenda, no matter who it is. They have an agenda they are pushing to each and every person. So friendship is where these taking all the spheres of influence will stem from, yes, there's a basis of faith coming from one faith that will guide us, but now there will be another thing that unites us, friendship.
Interesting, interesting. I've never thought of it that way, specifically in the black community. But interesting insights. I think if we continued, we will never finish. But it's insightful. In fact, I'm rethinking my steps. I'm rethinking what my friendships are. In fact, I really want them to be intentional. So moving forward, there are things I've learned that I hope I will apply. And the people who haven't heard of this, who are in those, I think we have to learn from other communities too. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, like learning is something that should be
Yeah.
in our DNA. Like we should never say that we have reached the epitome of knowing everything, and now we don't need to learn.
Mm.
Because one thing that I've come to know, you can learn from even the smallest child that you see, because there's something they will do, and then like, oh, by the way, you should do this.
I should do this. Yeah. No, I haven't had a lady talk about what we have said right now. I don't know if you guys are feeling charged up about the
I was
feminist
tempted.
agenda.
I was tempted to ask question,
You can ask.
but I recognize it's from an emotional point of view, and I don't want that. I don't want it to be just an argument. Um, but I feel like feminism is misunderstood. The point of empowering women was not to bring the men down. Like when you look at that system, I feel like women were kind of shortchanged. Like I don't remember which part of history exactly I was reading, where there was a scientist who alikuwa on a wheelchair. I don't know if somebody would know that story. He was on a wheelchair, mostly taken care of by women, but most of his species was degraded to women. Even on his last days, as he was going through all those things, like assistants wake walikuwa women, people who would even write some of his words would be women, but no mention of them were in his works. So I feel like sometimes we feel like women were created to be lesser, and that is not exactly the point. And being a woman is not all about being feminine and all cutesy and there's nothing feminine about being bad. Hapo ukicheza unaua mtoto na unajua, you know. We have somebody was bringing a point of view niliona mahali that was very interesting. In us, men and women, there's feminine and masculine, both of it. That's the way we tell you guys to be vulnerable. That is kind of a feminine. So it needs to be balanced. The way a woman protects a child, there's nothing feminine about that. You can't play with somebody when they're playing with their children. Apple, you'll be like, don't test me, you know. So I feel like feminine is all this. It has been portrayed in a toxic way where we want the men to go down for us to go up. No, 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 no. We don't want that. We just want to live in the fullness of our potential. We have a brain, we have a personality. God created us with purposes. It's not just that your purpose is to support somebody else alone,
That's true.
you know. So I feel that the movement is mainly about that. There are people who have taken that whole thing and are swinging it around and causing chaos with it. But the thing is, it is just for, like, when I see women in my village, somebody is so capable, they're so tough, but they don't have an understanding of that. They don't have an understanding that they can go out, they can work and provide for the children or help the man in a certain way. Yes, sasa amekaa tu hapo hapo, oh, yeah, you know, my mind is just a carpenter. it's family. But you can do something to support that, it is just about that. It is just about that you are not a helpless human being. You are not into a makeup when the man is not doing something. So I don't want to argue or ask questions from an emotional point
I think I can comment
of
on
view.
that. In that, by us saying about the feminist agenda, we're not attacking the feminine nature of a woman. We actually, I think most men can agree to it. You don't want a woman who you say this and then that's it,
Yes, the
because there
yes
is a
woman.
point I'll need help, not help in maybe holding something over here. I'll not be in a capacity to lead as a leader that I'm called, and you need to step in. So the feminine part of a woman and the masculine part of a woman, as you have portrayed it so well, is actually very good. The movement, uh, the feminine agenda, started as a very good thing. I think it started in the World War II, where all the men had gone to war, and there were no men to go to the factories to make guns, planes, cars, and all that, and the women had to be called in. So they were coming in as not just as minor players in contributing towards victory of the war, but major players. In that, a woman is not called to be a shadow of the man. When you're with a man who understands that as God created you, you also have a purpose. God created you for also a reason. The moment you meet, he'll not be like, okay, you first focus on what I want to do, and then whatever you wanted to do, your work is now to raise kids, stay at home, done. A good example from that is from the book of Proverbs 31. It talks about the virtuous woman. The Bible says that he sees a piece of land, she goes and buys it. She provides for house. It never goes hungry. When winter comes, there is enough warmth that she has already like worked with her hand to make sure that her house is warm. So that doesn't mean that when we're talking about the feminine agenda, is like we're trying to put down a woman. That is actually something that is so wrong, and it's sad that some people are going into that. But what you're talking about, there are some people who have overtaken that whole agenda, and now they are bringing their own ideas in on the table. In that they are saying, "I agree. What most women can do, men can do in the same way, but we are not created the same. So you cannot go have an argument with a guy who is 6 feet and say, uh, bro, I'll knock you out.
Bitch.
And then you're just 5 feet or rather 4 point something. Yeah,
No,
you
you can.
you can, but the next thing you'll wake up,
mentally.
you'll find yourself unconscious, waking down up from the
Mentally,
bed.
if you've done jujitsu.
In the hospital 3 months after.
If you've done jujitsu or just women who are active, but that is I get your point.
Yeah, so that is the point where we are coming from, in that we're not condemning the feminine nature of a woman wanting to take leadership and all that. Because us saying that a woman is supposed to be a shadow of the man, that is actually wrong. Because God created you also with a purpose. And the beauty of friendship between a man and a woman, when a man and a woman comes together, you are masculine, he's feminine. You have a purpose, he has a purpose. God is a matchmaker in that he complements you. Whatever I'll be working on, it's like we are working to say the same thing that you had God called you to work. So you're not like leaving whatever you want. We'll be working towards one goal, but we are achieving one same result, in that we have all fulfilled our purpose.
Okay, I was driving towards the point. I think I'm kind of losing it. So okay, it is back now. As you have said, yes, there are attacks on the whole nature of human. You have said on the men because you're meant to be the heads. I agree to some point. But the attack is on the whole nature of human beings and how God intended things. When you look at it, it's like the genders have been pitted against each other. the ladies are like, you men, the men are like, you ladies.
Yeah.
Tuna waste two time hapa tukigombana. There are differences, but imagine we are all human beings who are looking for love, who are created for something. And I feel like, for me, that is what I tell most people in my circle. Just be comfortable with who you are, and just male or female, the problems you're not facing is not unique to your gender. Men are going through a lot, ladies are going through a lot. It's not that one side is having it easy. The devil is attacking both sides. Because if you have two confused genders, there's nothing to be formed there. There's no
There's no
family.
progress.
There's no hata mkioana itakuwa
A
very
broken
confusion.
family.
Yes, a broken family. So I would just say anytime you you want to hear those conversations and you feel like, because I feel like some people have been told like, ladies have it easy, you see, they have it like that, they have it like that, and it arouses this bitterness in men with their ladies, that the way they're supposed to protect the female in their society, they're now you guys now see what is happening. They're now the people causing harm, because you guys in the physical realm, you are supposed to be protecting
Protectors,
us.
providers, and all that.
You're supposed to make sure I can walk home and nafika home vizuri. And for us in the spiritual realm, like there's a way a lady can meet a person, and maybe you are going to do a business deal, akwambia huyu hapana.
That is so
Hivyo tu.
true.
You
That is
see, so
true.
it's a balance. But if me as a lady, I am with the bitterness that men are this, men are dog, men are
That is
flesh,
also
men are
true.
flesh, men are ears, men are legs. Unajua vitu majina mingi. Maina, let me tell you. So if I'm here like men are plates, that part of me is kind of ni kama nimewekewa veil. I can't.
In fact,
I
you're
am not.
speaking to it. Your words are. What did I say? Your words are.
It's like ni kama
What
nafaa
a
iona
powerful-
hapo nje, but kuna hapa curtain, I'm struggling inside here with darkness. So ladies are like that in confusion of what men need, what men. The men on the other side have the bitterness thinking that the ladies, you're supposed to see clearly the things you're supposed to do, you cannot do them, because in your mind there's this idea that maybe if I do this for a lady, oh, why is she having it dirty? If I provide, mbona namprovide, you get there's so much confusion. So at this point, when you go up and the people who will listen, go back to yourself and just accept yourself as the gender you came into the world as, and just ask God to lead you into your strongest. You can be a lady who is aggressive in business. It's okay. You're not masculine. You will still have the feminine parts of you that function well. So just as you came, just as you relate to the world, just pray to God that what is it that, because I had that question about in my heart. Ni nini hii tunagombania? Kwani ni difference gani tuko nayo sana? People think, oh, ladies are emotional. Like, you see, I had to think that, why did God create emotions? Why are we so emotions ni kama sufuria moto?
When it comes to emotions, it's something that ladies have been fed to think that they are emotional. I agree you're emotional, but up to a certain point, because you don't use emotion when it comes to investing. But when it comes to other things, the world tells you, just you are emotional, you can do this, but let's talk about money. Emotions out the window. So
But I do feel like, even to make informed, we have these things that, emotions bad, rationality, but your emotions are kind of rational. When you sit down and think about your whole functionality, everything about you is rational, including how you're feeling. So when you accept that, you won't be weird with it. You can sit, like me right now. You can take me to a meeting. I'm tense, mkono inashake, and I will still carry it to the end. And then after that I will give myself and sit with myself and I'm like, okay, why was it so difficult? Why was I anxious?
Yeah.
It's a normal thing to feel those things. So for the things of gender, that is why unapata sasa kuna hii men that, women this, men should not be anything. You should not be doing it. It's not like a thin line that kama unasikianga umekasirika we si mwanaume or if you don't feel sijui how about some things, you are not a lady. You are. Maybe those things, the environment you are in didn't cultivate those feelings, and it is okay. So that fight, I feel it is part of the confusion of wanaume mko na hii, ladies mko na hii.
Yeah,
It is just
there's
confusion.
in as much as there's a difference between man and a woman, there are some aspects that zinakuwa over amplified to create difference and to create disagreement between both genders. In that, at the end of it, there will be no unity. It's just kills that are being formed, and the world is betting to thrive on that because why when I think at it from a point of a Christian view, as Christian, we are more accommodating, we are more welcoming. In that, you tell me, "Oh, I'm a Christian," and you're not restricted. You have to eat a certain time, go and pray and pray. God tells you, "I chose you first before you chose me," and then since you chose me, you don't have to like come to the mosque. Let me just use the mosque at 5, pray facing the north and all that. You are free. Cultivate your relationship with me. Now, the world knowing that we are free, it's now taking advantage by introducing certain aspects to both men and women, and that freeness makes us susceptible in that we accept them and they affect how we relate first with God and friends and even the ladies and our that now goes forwards to it's passed on to from generation to generation. So looking at it now, it's in that it has affected how Christians are effective in the marketplace, in the spheres of influence. Why? Because of how the Christian belief is. But looking at it from the beginning, we're called to be set apart. Set apart doesn't mean that you are called to be set apart and yet be welcoming to everything that comes. You are set apart, but whatever thing that comes that is new from whatever you are set apart from, just put a block on it. In as much as you are told when you go to the to the Romans, dressed like the Romans, eat like them, doesn't mean that you go dressed like them and become them.
Yeah.
So that is where we have gone all wrong, and that has messed how men face friendship, how families formed, and how effective or influential we are in the marketplace as Christians.
Um, um, nice. I know if we continue, we will sleep where we are.
Yeah, we are 1 hour into it.
And it's so deep. I don't even think we can finish this friendship sphere or the
Yeah.
family sphere.
I think we need more minds.
We need more minds,
Yeah.
We
you
need
guys.
more mics.
So yeah, so watch out for another extended podcast on the same.
Yeah, it's
And
not yet done.
it's not yet done. We are far from over.
Yeah.
I don't even know whether
Just
we leave
getting
the family
started.
space. I don't know whether I'll leave it, but
So much.
I am remaining in God's direction, and I hope we can do more. So watch out for the next meeting. Watch out for the next podcast. At least we do it every week. Yeah, so catch up on us on social media pages and all. And see you on the next one. Thank you for your time, audience. Makofi kwenu. Makofi kwenu. Makofi kwenu. Thank you so much. Let's end it at that.